Welcome everyone to another video from Views from the Stands. Your host is here, Gunner. And guys, we got another episode. This is our second to last episode. I know tears are coming down my face as we're talking about this, and we're getting towards the end. And I'm excited that we're going towards the end. Obviously, right? We can definitely look into doing other content. But man, this has been great. I've enjoyed it a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed it that have been following along this journey. And let's get into episode 17 of our transfer portal series, shall we? And we're going to talk about the first team here. And you guessed it, it is Nebraska. 247 has them as the 50th best class. One has them as the 23rd best class. We have 6 total players in this class, and we're going to review all of those players. And they just focus on the certain positions they needed for depth purposes, starter potential, stuff like that, right? They are definitely focused on the high school kind of model, right? Build your roster from a high school standpoint, and then let the portal kind of fill in some of the little gaps. So first guy I want to talk about here is Micah M, man. I'm not even going to try to say your last name, sir. He's an interior lineman, 6'5", 325, big guy, coming out of Maryland, St. Francis Academy, solid school out of there in high school. Season O-line, can plug in for Nebraska, in my opinion. He was part of that scuffle, if you remember, between Florida and Tennessee last year. So, that's just something to kind of monitor. I wouldn't say he's got a bad rap or anything like that, or rep, but just something to kind of just make sure that from a culture standpoint that he's falling in line. Next guy I want to talk about is Stephon Thompson. He's a linebacker from Syracuse. Man, this guy's got a lot of production: 160 tackles, 9 sacks. So I think this is somebody that can kind of plug in that rotation and give them production. Another guy is Dante Dowdell, running back coming out of Mississippi. Young running back, only 17 carries this past year. Obviously, it was Bucky Irving and the other guys, and so I mean, the thing with Oregon, they're just kind of over recruiting right now, where they have too much people, and this was one of the byproduct of that. And so he's going to, I think, a solid school. He can kind of go in there and compete, and hopefully get in the rotation. And I think the good thing is that this guy's still young; he can still get developed by that staff, and improve his craft. Next guy is Isaiah Nair, coming out of Texas, wide receiver, 6'3", 215. Great frame at Arlington, Texas. 50 catches, 1,000 yards, 12 DDs. For this past season, he wasn't in the rotation. I believe he was banged up. I'm not quite sure about that. I don't know if maybe the Aiden Mitchell thing had to play a factor in his rotation / snaps. But I mean, this kid's got some production, man, especially for the 50 catches. So I think he can kind of go in there and give Nebraska some skill players. I think that's obviously what they're looking for. They need to improve that offense. Next guy is Jamal Banks, another wide receiver, big frame, 6'4", 205. He's got 100 catches, 1,200 yards, 13 TDs. He's coming out of Wake Forest, so another guy with a lot of production. So I mean, him and Nair can do some things in the offense, as they continue to improve the overall roster on that side. And then lastly, I want to talk about here is Bly Hill. He's a young DB coming out of St. Francis College. Great frame. He only had 20 tackles, 2 interceptions. But I think this is a good flyer, right? Somebody that has a good ceiling, high upside potentially with what you're working with in terms of frame and size. So you can develop him and mold him into what your scheme is. This is it's a win-win, low low risk, high reward potentially, in my opinion. So, uh, and that guys, that really concludes the entire class, not just a few players of Nebraska. Solid class overall. Not gonna reveal anything in terms of what I feel truthfully, in terms of rankings. Because again, at the end of this, which will be this weekend, we will be reviewing the um, my final rankings, the views from the stands rankings. So excited to drop that this weekend. Um, so we're gonna take a quick break here, and then we're getting to the second team here. Hi everyone. Gunner here to quickly say thank you for the continued support you guys are giving me and have been throughout this journey and whatnot. But if you haven't supported yet, please go subscribe to the channel. That will benefit you as you'll get notifications, and it benefit myself as well. Um, but I hope you guys enjoy the Transfer Portal series. Here we go. Welcome back, everyone. Your host is here, and we got part 2 of our Transfer Portal series, episode 17. And it is ASU, guys. And don't mean to get ahead of schedule, but real quick, they brought in 23 total players. We'll be talking about a few of those players. And ASU, I mean, they were one of the rosters out there where they just need to kind of replenish, right? Reshuffle and add a lot more talent from other colleges. So they definitely brought in a lot of people, and I think they brought some good impact players given where they're at. From a program standpoint. But 247 ranks them as the 23rd best class. One has them as the 55th best class. Brought in a kicker, long snapper. I mean, they literally brought. It seemed like they focused at least like one on every position. Not wide receivers because they feel comfortable with where they're at, but they definitely brought in some dudes. And so the first guy we want to talk about here, as you can see, is Jalen Clem. He's coming out of Washington, young lineman, has football ties from his family, and he could definitely be developed. So he's definitely an interior guy, and he's somebody that can make some noise for them on that O line. I mean, one of the things was this past year was their O line was getting banged up left and right. Another guy, which was surprising to even see him kind of get into the portal originally, was Cole Martin from Oregon. I had the opportunity to see this kid actually a few times in high school out there in Basha High. So shout out to them and him. Talented DB man, 5'10", 180. He's definitely like a safety, corner, nickel kind of guy. He can play both. Kid's electric and can be used in special teams. So I think this is a good pickup, really good pickup, really for ASU um, for that overall roster. Next guy is Markston Douglas, coming out of Florida State, tight end. Man, he is a big body, 6'4", 285. I mean, he could be used as an extension of that O line potentially. He's got 25 catches, only 4 TDs. He's only played the past 2 years for them. So. See what they can do. It looks like he was a converted tight end as well. It looks like as a prospect, he was a defensive guy from what I'm seeing here. He is a grad transfer, so this is kind of his 1 year and done thing. So I interested to see. I would assume that he's going to keep that tight end role and just kind of continue to mold his craft. Another big time player, man. It sucked that this guy left my squad, obviously. Relique Brown coming out of USC, man. This dude is a Swiss Army knife, guys. I mean, he's an electric player, can play running back, wide receiver, and special teams. I think he needs to be more of a running back, but he obviously can be used in the passing game like such, right? Make sure you're definitely using him in special teams, in my opinion. But I think that was part of the issues with USC and his stay is that his freshman year he was a running back, and this past year we decided to have him as like a slot wide receiver. And I mean, when you have Zachariah and even Taj, it's like how are you going to allow that, right? So excited for him. Excited to see him at ASU, and he's going to do some big things. Next guy is Kamari Wilson, Florida, uh, safety, 6 feet, 40 tackles, still a young DB in my opinion. Highly touted. As you can see, he was the 75th, right, top 75 player in the country. So I mean, this guy could still go out there and ball. So I think this is a good pickup. I know they lost Jordan Clark, safety role. So I think this guy good and just boom boom plug and play, right, and have no setback basically. And then lastly is Sam Levet, QB 6'2", coming out of Michigan State, Oregon kid, so he's coming closer to the West Coast. Um, Talented QB in my opinion, and ASU just needs bodies in that room, regardless of who really is going to be QB. If it's going to be Rashada, if it's going to be him, if it's going to be someone else, they just need healthy bodies. That was another issue outside of the line, was that QB room. It seemed like it was getting banged up every week. Um, so I'm very impressed, honestly, with what ASU has done. I think they deserve a lot of credit, and aren't really getting that. And I understand why though, because unfortunately they're not built to compete for the playoffs or the national championship or conference championships, in my opinion, right? Um, but you can see that they are definitely going to be more competitive than last year, and it's going to be a little bit tougher to still beat these teams. So excited about this class. I think this is a solid home run class for ASU given the past season. And honestly, if you wanted to wonder, I have this obviously better than Nebraska if we want to compare the two. Um, so yeah, guys, that will conclude episode 17, man. We have one more episode that is going to be coming out on Thursday, okay, the 4th. So be on the lookout on that. Please go like the video. Go make sure you go share. Hey, and if you aren't subscribed, go hit that button. That will get you notified when these drop. Hey, but enjoy your rest of your Tuesday, guys. Peace.